What's going on, beautiful people? Welcome back to week 9 of Community Permaculture. This week we're talking about how do we have hope in a situation where we continue to hear bad news on the political, ecological, social front. And I think it's really important as we close out this class to re-ground ourselves in a sense that we can do something, that we have power, and that power, I think, as the sort of main thrust of today's or this week's watch list lies in our ability to imagine something outside of the status quo, and really the movement that kind of foregrounds that and begins to do that in a beautiful way is Solarpunk. So we'll be focusing on that concept, as well as another podcast from Vandana Shiva and Farmer Rishi here in LA. Some really good stuff. So let's get into it. We start off with a video from Our Changing Climate, and what I like about his videos is connecting the ecological with the political, economic, and social political structures of the world. And I think that's a really crucial viewpoint to have, because obviously our results arise from our ideas of what we are and how we relate to one another, etc. So a bit of politics in there, and I think it's a really important piece of the puzzle to have in mind. He obviously comes from an quote unquote leftist, quote unquote anarchist sort of framework, but I think regardless of your political leanings, we're all in the same climate situation, and understanding how our politics relate to creating or destroying the conditions for our life seems really important to me. So love his channel, love what he's up to. The next video is a full hour podcast, amazing stuff. You get to see them physically, face-to-face chatting. So it really personalizes the interaction between Vandana Shiva and Farmer Rishi, and it's a lot of material in there. I don't really have a way to quickly summarize it, other than to say it is reiterating some of the points we heard from Vandana Shiva last week, with an orientation towards, as the title would suggest, healing through gardening. So an orientation a little bit more towards what can we do in our gardens to begin doing something. Obviously, if you're going to heal from anything, you have to understand what that thing you're healing from or healing through or whatever is. So it's not all rainbows and butterflies or whatever. There's some important critiques leveled at our status quo as well there, but really excellent piece again from Rishi and Vandana Shiva. Thank you all both for being who you are. And then we got a video on what is Solarpunk by St. Andrewism. I just discovered his stuff on YouTube and love it, through Our Changing Climate, actually. Trinidadian, I'd say young philosopher king, really doing his thing, expressing himself, expressing his politics, and orienting his thinking towards some sort of hopeful future, and to that end discussing Solarpunk. So if you've heard of cyberpunk, basically a depiction of a dystopian future ruled by corporations. If you've heard of steampunk, right, kind of a view into our industrial past, and both of those being aestheticizations of contemporary capitalism's past and future, and if the trajectory continues as is, future. Solarpunk is a way through that false dichotomy, or that sort of deterministic trajectory of capitalist society, which imagines the solar being, sustainably powered civilization, the punk being something that goes against our contemporary practices. So I really, I'm really inspired by that overall aesthetic, and I hope that we can start filling our minds and our consciousness with visions of a future which looks very different, a future in which technology and ecology find ways to harmonize, and human society and humans step up to become the intelligent drivers of that harmonization. The next video is another one by Our Changing Climate, along with St. Andrewism, on Solarpunk. So you get two videos, 20 minutes, about describing some of the basics and showing some really cool images that hopefully, as I said, get your subconscious envisioning a different future. Then there's a quick guide to Permablitzing. So Permablitzing is people get together and they go out and they say fix up a neighbor's yard, right? A whole bunch of people will gather together and in a single day, say take out a lawn or remove sections of lawn, install swales, aka water harvesting features, install food forestry, foundations, etc., and turn someone's yard into a productive space from a ornamental waste to a potentially highly productive food provider. So this is a quick introduction to that idea, which is something that if we are operating with a Solarpunk aesthetic and moving in those sorts of communal productive, I don't know what the better word to use would be there, ways, we have the vision and the mission, so to speak, or the mode, the means of carrying out that vision, at least one of them. And these are things that we can do as individuals and small communities even. Then we go into, if you want to get real deep, there's 2 videos at the end, both an hour and a half, but if you want to turn them on while you're doing something else, another lecture by Toby Hemenway on the Permaculture City. One of the crucial points that I would call your attention to here is that for him, it's not all about this fantasy of escape out of the city and flee into the country. So not only do I feel that that is kind of an irresponsible escapist fantasy, but it's also wasting some of the vast potential that resides in cities where he points out, human creativity and sorts of artistic and social intellectual productivity are exponentially increased when you have the more people you have in a certain area. They're inspiring, they're productive, they're efficient. That's the other point, is that they can be incredibly ecologically efficient if designed or redesigned well. And as we said, creatively stimulating. And then the last video we're going to look at is living change, inspiring stories for a sustainable future, on just various, this is predominantly again white, landowning white people sort of situations that are described, but not exclusively, I believe, but predominantly. But there are plenty of landowning people of all sorts, especially lots of white people here in the West, because of colonialism and its legacy. And I think it's really crucial. There's a lot of hopeful, awesome stuff that can be applied, even if we are not, say, a member of the landowning class, or if one is not a member of the race which is mainly represented in that video. There's still a ton to be learned from those inspiring stories. Again, reclaiming our sense of hope, I think, is a responsible thing. It's often portrayed that you need to sort of be a doomerist, live in despair, to be responsible, to be actually understanding what's going on with our world means bathing in bad news, so to speak. I don't think that's true. I think our actual responsibility is to envision a different future and move towards that future with our actions. So that's what I'm doing with this course. That's what I'm doing with guerrilla gardening. That's what I'm doing with plant adoptions, so to speak, plant sales, inspiring hopefully nursery owners. I'm working with some people to start nurseries. So anyways, if you'd like to participate in any of that, I would love to help begin a dispersed community nursery, so to speak. I would love to help get public food forests in Long Beach and surrounding areas, and globally, and I would love your help in honing this course. And to that end, if you want to tell me, yeah, I really enjoyed this, I didn't enjoy that, I would love to hear it. I'm all ears, and I appreciate y'all who has rocked with me this far. Thank you for being with me in this course. I hope it's been inspiring to you. One final week coming up next week, and it might be sooner than Sunday. I've kind of gone all the way from Mondays all the way to Sundays with it, but I'm aiming to get y'all a sort of summary of the things that I think we should highlight out of this course. So thanks again, y'all. See you next week.